Hey, I'm Dr. SCL. I'm a dad, a chiropractor, and the translator you didn't know you needed in this, the first year of parenting. This is Decoded, the first year, the podcast that turns baby brain confusion, mum burnout, and milestone panic into clarity you can actually use. Let's make sense of the chaos by decoding it together. If you've ever looked at your baby during tummy time and thought, why does this feel harder for them than it should? Or maybe you've noticed moments where their body feels a little too stiff or a little too floppy, and you've wondered quietly, am I missing something? Let me reassure you right from the start, you're not missing anything. What you're seeing makes complete sense when we look through a nervous system lens. Today we're continuing this conversation around primitive reflexes, these hidden drivers of early development. And we're focusing on one of the most important and most overlooked. The reflex that teaches your baby how to work with gravity, not against it. Because before a baby can roll, before they can crawl, before they can sit, they have to learn how to organise their body in a world that is constantly pulling them down. And that's exactly what we're decoding today. Last week we talked about the Moro reflex, that startle pattern that tells us so much about how a baby's nervous system feels safe or unsafe. This week we're moving from reaction to readiness. I want you to think about gravity for a moment, the constant force that pulls on your baby's body from the moment they're born, something they're so unfamiliar with from their in utero environment. The way a baby responds to gravity is not random. It's orchestrated by a reflex called the tonic labyrinthine reflex, or TLR. The TLR is foundational. It shapes tone, posture, and the ability to move against the world. When a baby is on their back, the TLR naturally encourages extension of the body. When they're on their tummy, it encourages flexion. These patterns help the nervous system calibrate muscle tone, balance, and midline control, all before a single crawl or roll ever happens. If this reflex is not integrating appropriately, you might notice excessive stiffness or rigidity in your child, or they can be the opposite and be floppy and under-tensioned with movements. And fundamentally, both will result in a difficulty in holding the head or controlling the trunk. But here's the key. None of this is your fault. It is simply information. The TLR is showing you where the nervous system is still learning to manage gravity and tone. Now, let's try and link this to everyday life. Tummy time isn't just an exercise. It's where the TLR gets to practice flexion and extension safely. Your baby's feeding posture, whether at bottle or breast, gives subtle tone input and helps the neck and trunk work against gravity in small repeated bursts. And sleeping position, whether it be on the back, on the side, or on the tummy, all provide a variation in gravitational load, thereby teaching the nervous system to regulate tone even while resting. The beauty of understanding the TLR is that it gives meaning to what parents are already doing without adding pressure. You don't need to force tummy time or create structured exercises. You just need to provide a safe space, variety, and opportunity for the reflex to integrate. This is what sets up the next big layer of development: coordination, rolling, and crawling. When the TLR integrates well, the baby can move with effortless tone, predictable midline patterns, and controlled transitions. If it doesn't integrate, movement compensations appear: the stiff leg during a roll, the locked elbows, or the wobbly trunk, particularly when we see the child going vertical, like when sitting. This is why those external braces bumbos, seats, etc. are awful for the child's development. So when you watch your baby wriggle, roll or push against the floor, remember it's not just play. It's training the nervous system to manage gravity. It's layering foundation for every milestone that comes next. If there's one takeaway I really want you to hold on to today, it's this. Tone, gravity, and reflex integration come before milestones. Everything that looks like a movement, rolling, crawling, reaching, sitting, is built on how the baby learns to work with gravity during these early reflex patterns. So as you move throughout your day, whether it be feeding, settling, playing, or picking up your baby, I want you to see it a little differently now. You're not just getting through the day, you're giving your baby hundreds of small, powerful opportunities to learn how to organise their body through their nervous system against gravity. And that matters more than any milestone checklist ever will. Because when tone is organised, when reflexes are integrating, movement doesn't need to be forced. It emerges. If this episode has shifted the way you see your baby's movement, even just a tiny bit, then you're already doing the work that matters most. And if you're sitting there thinking, okay, but how do I actually know what's active for my baby right now? That's why I created the Baby Milestone Decoder. It helps you to understand what you're seeing, why it's happening, and what your baby's nervous system might be asking for next. The easiest way to grab a copy? Send me a DM through the socials using the word Decode. I'm most active on Instagram at Mount Hawthorn Chiropractic. Next week, we're bringing this all together, connecting the Moro, the TLR, and tone into one of the biggest milestones parents watch for, crawling. And I'll show you how these early reflex patterns shape your baby movements throughout their world, not just when. Dr. SCL, out. Thanks for listening to Decoded, the first year, where we translate the mess of early parenting into something that actually makes sense. Be sure to share this episode with a friend, a partner, or a mum that you know who is quietly struggling through the noise and secretly Googling every milestone. If you want to hear more decoding, follow at Mount Hawthorn Chiropractic on the socials. Let's keep decoding the chaos. No mansplaining, no pressure, no judgment, just clarity when you need it most. Please note, this podcast isn't medical advice. It's just smart strategies from a Gonstead chiropractor, a dad, and someone who's been in the room with hundreds of mums trying to make sense of their baby's development, their own postpartum recovery, and the constant noise that comes with modern parenting. Always chat with your health team for specific care.